and I think people do want to watch, but they are promoting it very heavily, to the point that I don't even know what teaser we're on, because I was actually in our comments, I was keeping track. Like the last time it was teaser number 4, and I sometimes
Right.
use teaser and trailer, interchangeably because I know the public does. A lot of people don't. I think in the public, a lot of people don't even understand the difference between a teaser and a trailer. Strictly speaking, this is a teaser, not a trailer. But I believe this is the new international one they have because it has some Spanish comments and things like that. So I believe that this is like possibly like the South American teaser
Okay.
for Picard. There's not a whole lot of new footage in it, but I thought we'd go through it and I'll show you the scene that particularly my friend wanted us to talk about and comment on and get your perspective on. So let's see here. So I think we have seen this image before of him breaking out the old communicator, which is cool. It's nice to see him breaking out the old Starfleet communicator. This goes by really quick. It's a teaser, so we've got the scene, which I love. I think we can't talk about it enough. Your theory about this scene of the incomplete painting and Data basically showing the incomplete painting to Picard, and possibly this having huge repercussions in the show, of this being basically Data's work with his child, and possibly we are going to see Data's child being protected by Picard. I love that theory, and I love the fact if that's true, and this uncompleted painting is sort of that analogy for this journey that Picard's going to take. That's going to be awesome. I think that's some good solid writing right there. I love that theory. It's not my own; it's yours, Dave, but I love it, and I think it's a really cool idea. That's the character where I call the mysterious stranger because I always forget her name. The person that we think may be Data's daughter. Now, my friend who asked me to talk about this trailer, she believes this is Seven of Nine's daughter. Okay, that's that's her theory. She believes this is Seven of Nine and Chakotay's daughter specifically.
Right, which we've heard that before.
I think we have seen this maybe from a different angle. The experimentation that's obviously going on with the Borg. Most likely with the Romulans. We've seen this image before. These ships, we've talked about these ships a lot, which we think are the ships. There's a later scene that we're going to see in more in that triangle configuration. I think they're the same. I think they're Romulan. That's my best guess at this point. There's the other angle. I think those are the same ships. It's hard to tell, though, right? Those could be different ships, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's the same triangular ships. I'm still just on the fence if they're Romulan or not.
Well, there was another, I don't know if it's in this trailer, but there was another image of these kind of ships guarding the cube, and I'm almost positive that's a Romulan base, essentially, where they're experimenting on the Borg, but we'll see. So, obviously, they're destroying what I believe is probably a Federation colony, something like that. Not sure if we've seen this image before. Sort of a random image here. It does look like Picard is in some civilian attire there.
I think he's on board that ship they keep showing us, whatever the ship is that they're on.
Okay. These are these mysterious forces that we saw that we speculated might be Section 31 or possibly Romulan agents that are chasing after our quote-unquote mysterious stranger. Another shot of this attack that's going on.
Right.
Some pretty big devastation there. You can see a planet almost looks like it's blowing up. I believe this is from Picard's mind. So this is probably 10 forward. People said this is 10 forward. This is him in his mind. And I'm guessing that's maybe the destruction of Romulus or something like that in the background.
I think it might, in all honesty, that scene actually might be reflecting that planet that we see in the Picard comic that we're going to be talking about later. And he might
that's interesting.
He might be in the 10 forward section, actually, of that ship, whatever the name of it is, that isn't sticking.
No,
the USS, whatever it is.
Yes, it's. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit. All right, we lost the feed for 1 sec, but I don't think we really missed anything. So, yeah, we can talk about that more obvious in the comic review. This is the scene my friend wanted us to talk about. Okay. So we see in this scene, we've seen this scene before. This is basically Seven of Nine, obviously, and she is clutching someone. She's obviously crying. I did review this earlier with the voiceover. And during the voiceover, Picard is specifically saying people are dying. That's what he says in the voiceover during this scene. And then they show this scene of Seven of Nine clutching someone who obviously meant something to her. You can see she's distraught. It looks like this may be right before or maybe right after the sort of badass scene we see with the two phasers shooting everybody.
Right.
It looks like this might be like right after that or right before it. Like maybe she's reacting to this character's death and then she goes all badass, or maybe he got shot in the crossfire, that kind of a thing. So the big question becomes, who is this person, and what kind of person would make this reaction from Seven of Nine? It's hard to tell. A lot of people right off the bat thought this might be Hugh, that Hugh's going to die early in the show, and this is Hugh dead, and this is Seven reacting to his death. Some people think it's Icheb from Star Trek Voyager, the other Borg character that was rescued by the Voyager crew.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
So my friend pointed out, as far as she can tell, and she's looked at she said she even looked at other teasers and things like that. It doesn't appear this character has any implants, so she's thinking it's not Hugh, it's not Icheb. That just based on that. Also, some people have kind of commented on the hair that you can see. It doesn't really look like Hugh's hair. We don't know what Icheb would look like at this point, or if they would have the original actor or recast him if he's in it. We don't know any of that. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. Did you have any theories initially or now as far as who this is and why Seven is reacting this way?
My initial reaction is those are some long sideburns.
Okay. Does that hint to anybody, or?
My initial thought is Elvis Presley, but that's not who it is. In all seriousness, it could be, that this is, Seven and Chakotay's son. That doesn't negate the idea that the other character is the daughter. So there is that possibility. Beyond that, it's a character that I don't think it's Chakotay, that's for sure. Because I'm pretty sure Robert Beltran's not coming back for this. But I don't know. It could be someone who has had significance to Seven in the last little while that we haven't even met yet. To me, that's what I would think. I would think that this might possibly be like her and Chakotay's son. Just because it looks more like it might be a guy than a lady, but nobody crucify me for that. I'm just judging by the angle here, and that's my thought.
Well, you're not the only person that has said that. That's all over Twitter, that a lot of people do speculate that this is Seven's son. And of course, the question becomes who the father is, right? If it's Chakotay, is it somebody else? That kind of a thing. We don't really know.
We do have another theory in the chat that we need to acknowledge that I think there may be some truth to. Our guest commentator here has said he thinks it might be Wolverine.
Sideburns Wolverine?
Yeah, sideburns equal Wolverine. So right now, there's
and he's putting it up a little bit more. You hear this?
Yeah.
He's the father. And I understand that one. So, Efren, I would like to be the father as well, because I have actually met Jerry Ryan in person. I met her at Star Trek Vegas, and yes, I totally get that.
Eventually I'll have a camera set up and people will be able to see, but I wish I had a board behind me so I could pin up, likely suspects for this character, and I could pin up a picture of Wolverine, Elvis, and then a question mark.
Well, obviously your guess is as good as anybody else's. What I said initially to my friend when we were talking about this, I think one of the previous teasers, we were going back and forth about this, and I still kind of feel the same way. I think it's obviously somebody that's close to Seven. I think it absolutely could be her son, or just another sort of close relative. It could be like it could be some like I'm kind of theorizing that Seven may be on Hugh's colony. That's how they're connected. That's kind of where she lives, or she spends a lot of time on Hugh's colony. That's kind of just my speculation because it would make sense from what I've heard from Jerry Ryan. She made some comments at Star Trek Vegas where she talked about the issue of the way Seven talks now. And I actually was someone who was like put off by that. And she said she was too. Because she was like, well, that's not how Seven talks. The direction she was being given, which I believe was Jonathan Frakes, directed that episode, the first episode she's in. She was basically told, no, you don't talk like that anymore. And she said she had a real problem at first figuring out how to do that because she's all like, well, then that's not Seven anymore. And what happened was she said she did this in her own head. This is what she said. She did it in her own head. But I think it still tells about what the story might be. She said, what if Seven had to start talking like a normal person because of the way she's treated by others? What if there's some sort of basically like Borg prejudice going on? So she deliberately started to talk more human.
Okay.
You follow?
Yeah, no, I get it.
So in that scenario, if something like that is going on and the Borg are sort of looked down upon or looked at with skepticism, sort of a racist sort of analogy that's going on, then I could see her spending a lot of time over on Hugh's planet because that Hugh's planet is only Borg as far as we know. That's the way it was left in the Next Generation. In fact, it's kind of funny because in the Next Generation, they kind of just totally just leave them to their own devices, kind of like Khan, right? They just leave them. Doesn't seem like the Federation is coming to help them, to study them. They're not trying to make them a member of the Federation. They just basically say, you guys have your own path now. We're just going to leave you alone, So I could see them being sort of like an independent system or whatever. And I could see her spending a lot of time there, meaning she would make a lot of friends. And this could be someone that's very close to her. It could very well be her son. Whether it's Chakotay is the father or not, I don't know if they're going to go there. So we'll see. It could just be someone that's a good friend of hers that we never saw, a brand new character. The thing is, I feel like if it's a brand new character, they're going to have to show some sort of relationship between Seven and this character. Otherwise, the audience isn't going to be involved. They're just going to be like, okay, well, we never saw this person. Why do we care? You know what I mean?
Well, and to take this conversation back to Batman v Superman for half a second, I want to kind of reiterate. It does need to be a character that on the surface, even if it's you have to be careful because if it's not a character we have any connection to, then the death will feel slightly hollow, just like you said. It's like, okay, well, so unless we really buy into the scene for however long it lasts, we're not going to have that resonance and we're not going to feel her pain. That's kind of one of the problems I've seen with a lot of modern storytelling. We're moving the story along so fast that we don't really have the connection to characters that we used to have. And see, that's a really good comment because here's what I was just about to say with Batman v Superman. I felt like the biggest missed opportunity in Batman v Superman was that Wayne Enterprises executive that Bruce Wayne was racing down the streets trying to save. Okay?
Yeah.
Because here's a simple change. They would have had to pay some money for this, but here's a simple change, a little bit more money, and that scene would have had so much more resonance. What if that had actually been Lucius Fox? And what if that had actually been played by Morgan Freeman? So when we see Bruce Wayne racing to save Morgan Freeman, he says he's Lucius Fox. We already have a connection to him because of the other Batman films. We don't need to see all that backstory because then, in a subtle way or a not so subtle way, the Christopher Nolan backstory of how Batman got equipped, how he got started, the person who made a lot of his gadgets, kind of his right-hand person besides Alfred, Lucius Fox, when we see him die and we see, Ben Affleck's Batman screaming no, we might actually feel something in that moment.
Right.
And that to me is still the biggest missed opportunity because it's just some random dude. It's like, even as a Batman fan, I'm like, that character is nobody. That character is literally nobody. And that's kind of the problem, is that, I don't know if in the back of their head they're going, oh, well, let's hold that in reserve for a later film. And sometimes it's not a good idea to sit on stuff. Sometimes if you have a way to have something have an emotional punch and you're trying to hook somebody at the beginning, you need to hook them at the beginning. You can figure something else out later. But I agree with the comment here. You have to make people care. And that's true. So this character has to be someone with enough connection to Seven or to Next Gen or to Voyager or to some of these characters that we've seen before, that when she's breaking down because this character dies, we all feel.
Exactly. Yeah, that's 100% what I agree with. And if it doesn't go that way, we're gonna know we're in some problems. I don't think, as far as what you've heard, I think Seven comes in. I don't think she's in the first episode. I think she comes in like in the second or third. Mm-hmm. Have you heard anything on that?
I've been honestly just staying away from some of the stuff because I would like to be a little surprised. Oh,
you're going to be surprised. Remember, we did our predictions on Mando, and we were wrong on everything. So you're going to be surprised. I don't think we got anything right. So I don't think we got one thing right on Mando when we did our prediction show, when we did our trailer breakdown. So, so you'll be surprised.
We had some great ideas, though.
The show isn't big on spoilers because we don't have any inside knowledge or anything like that. We're just going off the top of our heads here. So, but I do hope that, like you said, I hope this is relevant and there is some connection. A lot of people are speculating. So all I'll say is for that, I do think it has to be somebody important to her, and it has to be someone that's going to be like a family relation or something like that, or otherwise explained. So,
and just to clarify, once upon a time, I had some major insider knowledge, and I have the old NDA to prove it.
There you go. There you go.
It's no longer valid, but I did once upon a time. I used to be somebody, damn it.
You still are somebody, Dave. So anyway, I'll finish up the trailer here. That was the part that you really wanted us to look at. So.
Oh, that's kind of a cool shot.
Which one?
Just this old Romulan warbird. That shot where it was blasting at that ship looked fun.
Which is going to relate to our show later. There we go.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. The beginning of that shot, the way they flew in and the blast coming at the camera was kind of fun.
Because we are doing a Romulan retrospective, and we are going to be talking about Balance of Terror. So very relevant for Star Trek Picard. And this is why. This is one of the reasons why. We've got the same ship, right, from Balance of Terror.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it.
I think all this other stuff, I remember seeing most of this stuff before. Oh, there's a really good view of the Romulan warbird right there.
Yeah.
We got that shot. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
Basically, it looks like these are almost all shots that we've talked about before. They're just arranged differently. Oh, we get a better view of this gun. I remember we were talking about this gun. I don't remember having this good of a view of it. That's pretty crazy looking, isn't it? So.
Oh, and I think they're punching up the visual effects too, because it looks like they're kind of upping the ante with some of the visual effects, because you can tell they're still tinkering with stuff. So.
Yeah, there's Hugh. Goes by really quick. There's this ship that they have. There's that badass scene we were talking about. Goes by really quick, so that's one of the reasons it's also kind of fun to do these trailer reviews, or especially these teaser reviews, because they go by really, really quick, So sometimes, I miss things all the time with this stuff where I'm just like, I didn't even notice that. Like somebody will talk about something online. I'll be like, I didn't notice that at all. Did not notice that at all.